party election held on the 29th of March. The Nazis received 98.9% support. 60. In 1936, Hitler signed an anti-Comintern pact with Japan and a non-aggression agreement with Mussolini, who was soon referring to a Rome-Berlin Axis. 61. Hitler sent military supplies and assistance to the nationalist forces of General Francisco Franco in the Spanish Civil War, which began in July 1936. The German Condor Legion included a range of aircraft and crews, as well as a tank contingent. The aircraft of the Legion destroyed the city of Guernica in 1937. 62. The Nationalists were victorious in 1939 and became an informal ally of Nazi Germany. 63. Austria and Czechoslovakia. In February 1938, Hitler emphasized to Austrian Chancellor Kurt Schuschnigg the need for Germany to secure its frontiers. Schuschnigg scheduled a plebiscite regarding Austrian independence for the 13th of March, but Hitler sent an ultimatum to Schuschnigg on the 11th of March demanding that he hand over all power to the Austrian Nazi Party or face an invasion. German troops entered Austria the next day, to be greeted with enthusiasm by the populace. 64. The Republic of Czechoslovakia was home to a substantial minority of Germans, who lived mostly in the Sudetenland. Under pressure from separatist groups within the Sudeten German Party, the Czechoslovak government offered economic concessions to the region. 65. Hitler decided not just to incorporate the Sudetenland into the Reich, but to destroy the country of Czechoslovakia entirely. 66. The Nazis undertook a propaganda campaign to try to generate support for an invasion. 67. Top German military leaders oppose it plan, as Germany was not yet ready for war. 68. Top. Hitler proclaims the Anschluss on the Heldenplatz, Vienna, the 15th of March 1938. Bottom. Ethnic Germans used the Nazi salute to greet German soldiers as they enter Sars, 1938. The crisis led to war preparations by Britain, Czechoslovakia, and France, Czechoslovakia's ally. Attempting to avoid war, British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain arranged a series of meetings, the result of which was the Munich Agreement, signed on the 29th of September 1938. The Czechoslovak government was forced to accept the Sudetenland's annexation into Germany. Chamberlain was greeted with cheers when he landed in London, saying the agreement brought peace for our time. 69. Austrian and Czech foreign exchange reserves were seized by the Nazis, as were stockpiles of raw materials such as metals and completed goods such as weaponry and aircraft, which were shipped to Germany. The Reichswerk Hermann Göring industrial conglomerate took control of steel and coal production facilities in both countries. 70. Poland. In January 1934, Germany signed a non-aggression pact with Poland. 71. In March 1939, Hitler demanded return of the free city of Danzig and the Polish Corridor, a strip of land that separated East Prussia from the rest of Germany. The British announced they would come to the aid of Poland if it was attacked. Hitler, believing the British would not take action, ordered an invasion plan should be readied for September 1939. 72. On the 23rd of May, Hitler described to his generals his overall plan of not only seizing the Polish corridor but greatly expanding German territory eastward at the expense of Poland. He expected this time they would be met by force. 73. The Germans reaffirmed their alliance with Italy and signed non-aggression pacts with Denmark, Estonia and Latvia, whilst trade links were formalized with Romania, Norway, and Sweden. 74. Foreign Minister Joachim von Ribbentrop arranged in negotiations with the Soviet Union a non-aggression pact, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, signed in August 1939. 75. The treaty also contained secret protocols dividing Poland and the Baltic states into German and Soviet spheres of influence. 76. World War II. Top. Animated map showing the sequence of events in Europe throughout World War II. Bottom. Germany and its allies at the height of Axis success. 1942 foreign policy. Germany's wartime foreign policy involved the creation of allied governments controlled directly or indirectly from Berlin. They intended to obtain soldiers from allies such as Italy and Hungary and workers-armed food supplies from allies such as Vichy. France. 77. Hungary was the fourth nation to join the Axis, signing the Tripartite Pact on the 27th of September, 1940. Bulgaria signed the pact on the 17th of November. German efforts to secure oil included negotiating a supply from their new ally, Romania, who signed the pact on 23 November, alongside the Slovak Republic. 78, 79, 80. By late 1942, there were 24 divisions from Romania on the Eastern Front, 10 from Italy, and 10 from Hungary. 81. Germany assumed full control in France in 1942, Italy in 1943, and Hungary in 1944. Although Japan was a powerful ally, the relationship was distant with little coordination or cooperation. For example, Germany refused to share their formula for synthetic oil from coal until late in the war. 82. Outbreak of war. Germany invaded Poland and captured the free city of Danzig on the 1st of September, 1939, beginning World War II in Europe. 83. Honoring their treaty obligations. Britain and France declared war on Germany 2 days later. 84. Poland fell quickly, as the Soviet Union attacked from the east on 17 September. 85. Reinhard Heydrich, chief of the Sicherheitspolizei, SIPO, Security Police, and Sicherheitsdienst, SD, Security Service, ordered on the 21st of September that Polish Jews should be rounded up and concentrated into cities with good rail links. Initially the intention was to deport them further east, or possibly to Madagascar. 86. Using lists prepared in advance, some 65,000 Polish intelligentsia, noblemen, clergy, and teachers were murdered by the end of 1939 in an attempt to destroy Poland's identity as a nation. 87, 88. Soviet forces advanced into Finland in the Winter War, and German forces saw action at sea. But little other activity occurred until May, so the period became known as the Phony War. 89. From the start of the war, a British blockade on shipments to Germany affected its economy. Germany was particularly dependent on foreign supplies of oil, coal, and grain. 90. Thanks to trade embargoes and the blockade, imports into Germany declined by 80%. 91. To safeguard Swedish iron ore shipments to Germany, Hitler ordered the invasion of Denmark and Norway, which began on the 9th of April. Denmark fell after less than a day, while most of Norway followed by the end of the month. 92, 93. By early June, Germany occupied all of Norway. 94. Conquest of Europe. Against the advice of many of his senior military officers, in May 1940 Hitler ordered an attack on France and the Low Countries. 95, 96. They quickly conquered Luxembourg and the Netherlands and outmaneuvered the Allies in Belgium, forcing the evacuation of many British and French troops at Dunkirk. 97. France fell as well, surrendering to Germany on 22 June. 98. The victory in France resulted in an upswing in Hitler's popularity and an upsurge in war fever in Germany. 99. In violation of the provisions of the Hague Convention, industrial firms in the Netherlands, France, and Belgium were put to work producing war material for Germany. 100. German soldiers march near the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. The 14th of June 1940. The Nazis seized from the French thousands of locomotives and rolling stock, stockpiles of weapons, and raw materials such as copper, tin, oil, and nickel. 101. Payments for occupation costs were levied upon France, Belgium, and Norway. 102. Barriers to trade to hoarding, black markets, and uncertainty about future. 103. Food supplies were precarious. Production dropped in most of Europe. 104. Famine was experienced in many occupied countries. 104. Hitler's peace overtures to the new British Prime Minister Winston Churchill were rejected in July 1940. Grand Admiral Erich Raeder had advised Hitler in June that air superiority was a precondition for a successful invasion of Britain, so Hitler ordered a series of aerial attacks on Royal Air Force, RAF, air bases and radar stations, as well as nightly air raids on British cities, including London, Plymouth, and Coventry. The German Luftwaffe failed to defeat the RAF in what became known as the Battle of Britain. And by the end of October, Hitler realized that air superiority would not be achieved. He permanently postponed the invasion, a plan which the commanders of the German army had never taken entirely seriously. 105, 106. Several historians, including Andrew Gordon, believe the primary reason for failure of the invasion plan was the superiority of the Royal Navy, not the actions of the RAF. 107. In February 1941, the German Afrika Korps arrived in Libya to aid the Italians in the North African Campaign. 108. On the 6th of April, Germany launched an invasion of Yugoslavia and Greece. 109. 110. All of Yugoslavia and parts of Greece were subsequently divided between Germany, Hungary, Italy, and Bulgaria. 111. 112. Invasion of the Soviet Union. On the 22nd of June, 1941, contravening the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, about 3.8 million Axis troops attacked the Soviet Union. 113. In addition to Hitler's stated purpose of acquiring Lebensraum, this large-scale offensive codenamed Operation Barbarossa was intended to destroy the Soviet Union and seize its natural resources for subsequent aggression against the Western powers. 114. The reaction among Germans was one of surprise and trepidation, as many were concerned about how much longer the war would continue or suspected that Germany could not win a war fought on two fronts. 115. Death and destruction during the Battle of Stalingrad, October 1942. The invasion conquered a huge area, including the Baltic states, Belarus and West Ukraine. After the successful Battle of Smolensk in September 1941, Hitler ordered Army Group Center to halt its advance to Moscow and temporarily divert its panzer groups to aid in the encirclement of Leningrad and Kyiv. 116. This pause provided the Red Army with an opportunity to mobilize fresh reserves. The Moscow offensive, which resumed in October 1941, ended disastrously in December. 117. On the 7th of December 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. 4 days later, Germany declared war on the United States. 118. Food was in short supply in the conquered areas of the Soviet Union and Poland, as the retreating armies had burned the crops in some areas, and much of the remainder was sent back to the Reich. 119. In Germany, rations were cut in 1942. In his role as plenipotentiary of the four-year plan, Hermann Göring demanded increased shipments of grain from France and fish from Norway. The 1942 harvest was good, and food supplies remained adequate in Western Europe. 120. Germany and Europe as a whole were almost totally dependent on foreign oil imports. 121, in an attempt to resolve the shortage. In June 1942, Germany launched Vollblau, Case Blue, an offensive against the Caucasian oil fields. 122. The Red Army launched a counter-offensive on 19 November and encircled the Axis forces, who were trapped in Stalingrad on 23 November. 123. Göring assured Hitler that the Sixth Army could be supplied by air, but this turned out to be infeasible. 120.